Bonk! Hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite movies. And today I'm going to continue with my Hong Kong stuff review. It is currently 2:30 a.m. in the morning, but hey, I have no life. So let's do more movie reviews. I will do a movie review on Hard Boiled, or in Cantonese,辣手神探, and it is released in 1992, so that's like 28 years ago, and it's directed by John Woo, or in Cantonese, Yu Sum, and it stars Tony Leung, Leung Chiu-wei, who is also the main actor for the movie In the Mood for Love by Wong Kar-wai, Wong Ga-wei in the year 2000. And we also have the actor of Zhou Yunfat, Chow Yun-fat, who is also one of the most famous actors working in Hong Kong. So together we have a cop and an undercover cop, um, and together they beat up some bad guys. And yeah, that's basically the movie. It is a crime action drama with a lot of action sequences, a lot of gunshots and explosions. So the plot is basically there are two rival groups of criminals, but one of them is more powerful. So the undercover cop joined the more powerful gang, even though he originally was in the lesser powerful gang. And then we have the actual cop, who is not an undercover, who tried to pursue the powerful gang but doesn't know that there is an undercover until later on in the movie. And then after they know each other's existence, they work together and infiltrate the gang, and just explosions and gunfights, and that's the movie. The undercover's name is Alan, and he's really charismatic, really cool, and he is a very strong-willed person. And then we have the main cop, played by Chow Yun-fat, and his name, or more like his nickname, is Tequila. So yeah, both of them, they have chemistry. It is a bit of a buddy cop movie, even though their friendship isn't really explored in this movie all that much. But together, they actually have chemistry. And aside from that, I think this movie is fairly enjoyable. I mean, it's not a fantastic action movie. It's not that, outstanding. It's not that ahead of its time. It's not that special. And it doesn't blow my mind or anything. But as far as an action movie goes, it's really not that bad. And yeah, let's talk about the cons before I talk about the pros. The first two fight scenes, the first two action sequences are just meh. Maybe it's because I'm not invested in the characters at all, but the first two fight scenes specifically, are just not all that interesting to me. But as the movie goes on, it gets better and better. And then after that, we have a bunch of minor flaws that this movie has. We have continuity errors. And what's worse about the editing is that sometimes the scene would just slow down, I guess for dramatic effect, but I find it incredibly annoying and totally unnecessary, and sort of ruins the real grounded vibe of the scene. It just, why the hell is it slowing down? Another thing I'm a little confused by is the soundtrack. While the soundtrack overall is just okay, it's average, but sometimes we would get these sensual saxophones, which I don't think fit the tone of most of the scenes that these saxophones are featured in. And other than that, another complaint that I have is that in the climax of this movie, the whole climax took place in the hospital. There's this humongous shoot down in the hospital. And Tequila was trying to rescue all the babies in the baby room. and for a very lengthy time. He was carrying a baby in his arm while shooting people and running away from explosions. That is incredibly dangerous. And while, yes, that scene gave me anxiety, but wouldn't it be smarter for him to, I guess, give the baby to the person waiting outside the window to save the baby? That would be way wiser, or at least go to the window and tell them to help him catch the baby. Anyways, there are also quite a few things I like about this movie. Again, I really enjoyed the climax scene of the movie. I think the second and third acts are pretty good, and the last act is actually pretty great. It's actually a very solid, multi-parted act with different sections of fights and different awesome moments. There is a long take in this movie. That's 3 minutes long, and that's pretty impressive, given that it is only in the early 90s in Hong Kong cinema. But I guess I expected more, because a lot of people said, "Oh, that long take in Hard Boiled, that's a crazy long take." But actually, it's only 3 minutes. Like, I was expecting 12 minutes, but still 3 minutes, not bad, impressive. The villains are also, I won't say they are great villains, but it is cool that they would introduce one villain and one sub villain who's working for the villain. So, with different kinds. And the sub villain and the main villain have different personalities as well, which I like. I think the cinematography is just okay, the editing is just okay, there really isn't anything special. The dialogues, while they're not the, forced, rigid, stiff dialogues of the, modern Hong Kong movies and the Hong Kong TV shows, they aren't great in comparison with the movie Made in Hong Kong I saw like last week. The dialogues here, they're really not all that great, but they're not the point in the movie anyways. I like that the director of this movie made a couple cameos, and yeah, I'm just a little, I guess now that I've watched this movie and a couple, like a few scenes from popular Hong Kong TV shows and other movie recommendations, Hong Kong movie recommendations, I realized that Hong Kong media really loves the police force. Like, there are tons and tons of movies where the cops are playing the good guys. And I just don't understand that, because I guess it's people are starting to realize that that's not the case in recent years, especially young people. But the boomers still think, oh yeah, the cops, they're justice, they're pillars of justice. No, not a single cop can be bad. That's impossible. But when in fact it's actually very much possible. But hey, it's only the 90s. Hong Kong hadn't even returned to China yet. It's still British back in 1992. So maybe the system is a little different back then. But anyways, I think this movie is okay. Again, I'm not blown away by this movie. I think there are flaws in this movie. And at the end of the day, it's just a solid, cohesive, fun little action movie with a lot of explosions. I also really like that little side storyline at the climax, rescuing the babies. That add on to the intensity of the final fight. So yeah, I'm saying Hard Boiled 辣手神探 is a movie. It's a nice try, and I'm giving it a strong 7, maybe to a light 8 out of 10. Yes, light 8. I'm gonna be generous here. So, have you watched Hard Boiled? From 1 to 10, how much did you rate it? Like if you like it, and subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching. I will be reviewing a couple more Hong Kong movies, and then I will move on to review 2020 movies. Yeah,